Is it a golden ticket that lets the world's brightest minds build the future in America? Or is it a broken system that lets companies replace American workers with cheaper labor? But what if that golden ticket suddenly cost $100,000 a year? On the 19th of September 2025, a presidential proclamation introduced exactly that. Today, we're doing a deep dive. We'll break down what the H-1B visa really is, how it works, the insane odds of actually getting one, and why this new $100,000 fee could change everything. This is the story of the H-1B visa. So let's break it down. At its core, the H-1B is a temporary work visa. An American company sponsors a foreign professional to work in a specialty occupation. Now, that's a key phrase. A specialty occupation isn't just any job. It's a role that legally requires a bachelor's degree or higher in a specific field. Think software engineers, doctors, architects, and scientists. It's not enough for the person to have a degree, the job itself must require one. The visa is granted for up to 3 years and can be extended to 6. But here's the most important feature, the legal secret sauce that makes the H-1B so unique. Dual intent. Most temporary visas, like for tourists or students, require you to prove you plan on going home. Any hint that you want to immigrate permanently can get you denied. The H-1B is different. It allows you to hold two intents at the same time, the temporary intent to work and the long-term intent to get a green card and stay permanently. This doctrine is what transforms the H-1B from a simple work permit into the primary pipeline for high-skilled immigration to the United States. Okay. So you've got the degree, you've got a job offer from a US company. Getting the visa should be straightforward, right, wrong. You have to win the lottery, literally. Congress has set a cap of only 85,000 new H-1B visas per year, 65,000 for bachelor's degree holders, and an extra 20,000 for those with a US master's degree or higher. The problem? The demand is astronomical. For the 2024 fiscal year, there were over 758,000 registrations for those 85,000 slots. Your odds of being selected? A little over 11%. Imagine a US company finding the perfect candidate only to face a 90% chance of not being able to hire them simply due to bad luck. Now, that number was so high because of a huge flaw in the system. Some companies were submitting dozens of registrations for the same person to cheat the odds. So for 2025, the government changed the rules to a beneficiary-centric system, where each person is entered only once. The number of registrations dropped to 470,000, and the odds improved to about 25% better, but still a massive gamble. So let's say you defy the odds, and your registration is selected, the race is on. Step 1, the Labor Condition Application, or LCA. Before the employer can even ask for the visa, they have to file an LCA with the Department of Labor. This is all about protecting American workers. The company has to legally swear that they will pay you the higher of either the average wage for that job in your area or what they pay their other employees with similar skills. Step 2, the H-1B petition, or Form I-129. With an approved LCA, the company files the main petition with USCIS. This is a mountain of paperwork proving the job is a specialty occupation and you are qualified for it. Step 3, the waiting game. Or is it? Standard processing can take months. But for an extra fee of nearly $3,000, you can get premium processing, which guarantees a decision in 15 days. This creates a two-tiered system where well-funded companies can buy speed and certainty, while smaller startups are left in limbo. Life on an H-1B is a mix of amazing opportunity and constant uncertainty. Your legal status is tied directly to your employer. So what happens if you get laid off? A 60-day grace period begins. You have just 2 months to find a new company willing to sponsor you, file a brand new H-1B petition, and have it received by USCIS. It's a high-stakes, high-pressure race against time that puts workers in an incredibly vulnerable position. And what about families? The spouse of an H-1B holder gets an H-4 visa. For years, they couldn't work at all. A recent rule change allows some H-4 spouses to get a work permit, but only if the H-1B holder is already far along in the green card process. This brings us to the core controversy. Why is the H-1B so hotly debated? Because it's being used in two completely different ways by two completely different types of companies. To really understand this, we need to look at the data. Here are the top H-1B sponsors. You'll probably recognize all the names, but they tell a fascinating story. The list is dominated by two distinct groups. On one side, you have the talent acquisition model. This is a tech giant like Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. For example, in 2023, Amazon was the second largest sponsor with nearly 13,000 approved petitions. Microsoft and Google were fourth and fifth with thousands more. They are hiring elite, world-class experts for highly paid, critical roles they can't fill domestically. These are the people designing the next generation of AI, cloud infrastructure, and consumer technology. The data backs this up. The median salary for H1B workers in 2023 was a very healthy $118,000. But on the other side, you have the labor arbitrage model. This is primarily used by the massive IT outsourcing and consulting firms. For example, Tata Consultancy Services was number one on the list with over 15,000 petitions. Infosys was number 3 with over 11,000. These firms are the biggest users of the program by a huge margin. Their business model involves securing tens of thousands of H1B visas, often for more junior-level IT roles, and then contracting those workers out to other big companies to manage their IT departments, often after those companies have laid off their own American staff. The accusation is that these firms exploit a loophole in the prevailing wage system, classifying experienced workers at entry-level pay grades. The evidence is damning. One study found the median salary for H1B workers at outsourcing firms was 40% lower than for H1B workers hired directly by tech companies. This is the source of nearly all the public anger. The debate isn't really about one visa program, it's about two completely different business models using the same visa, and the data makes that divide crystal clear. Which brings us back to the bombshell proposal, a $100,000 annual fee for new H1B workers coming from abroad. The stated goal is to completely destroy the low-wage labor arbitrage model. The administration claims it will force companies to train Americans instead, and it would certainly work. That business model, which runs on high volume and low margins, would be financially impossible. But what about everyone else? Critics warn this would be a catastrophic blow to American innovation. Major tech companies might be forced to move entire teams and projects overseas. Startups and small businesses would be completely locked out of the global talent pool. And the whole proposal faces near certain legal challenges, arguing that such a massive fee is a punitive policy change that only Congress, not the president, has the power to make. So the H1B visa is at a crossroads. It's a story of two visas, a pathway for elite talent and a loophole for cheap labor, all wrapped up in one. This $100,000 fee is shock therapy. It would kill the abuse, but it might kill the patient too. Many experts suggest a more surgical solution. Instead of a random lottery, award the limited visas to the companies offering the highest salaries. This would naturally prioritize the most in-demand talent, automatically price out the low-wage model, and directly address the wage suppression issue without crippling the entire system. Finding that intelligent balance is the challenge. So what do you think? Is the $100,000 fee a necessary shock to fix a broken system, or a devastating blow to American innovation? Let me know in the comments below.